Sure what you guys want from me. Now, that's something that Brian Kelly said in his post-game press conference, but I don't really know what you guys want from me here tonight. I hope it is to have a deep and sports-centered podcast in reference to LSU, which we're going to do here tonight, as we are going to recap the game, things that I saw after being able to go back and rewatch a lot of different things, even tweeting some takeaways throughout the day. But we are going to break the game down, but and recap it. I don't really know what you want from me. Listen, when you're in sports, things run rampant. And when you're coming off a very high and emotional game, things become very tense and emotional. Brian Kelly's comments reminded me of a lot of what Nick Saban would do. And what's crazy to me is that Saban does not get the level, or didn't really get the level of hate that Brian Kelly's getting. He flashed out. I mean, listen, should he have potentially not done what he did? Maybe. I don't know if that's not the first question that needs to be asked. After tying a record of most interceptions in a game in LSU's history in 101 years of LSU football. I don't know that, but I understand it. But Michael Cobble asked the most important question. And around the most important question, it resulted in Brian Kelly coming out with Garrett Nussmeier having an injury. If you've been here the last 3 weeks, if you've been in a postgame, when we've talked about Garrett, the question revolves around, hey, there's this rumor about a torso issue. Well, today Brian Kelly confirms that there is a torso issue, that he is injured. Okay, sounds good. Where do we go from here? What does it mean? Does play calling get reduced based off of it? Because your defense is so good, it's going to help you win ball games. What would you have been without this level of defense would really beg the question right now. Where would you be right now if you would have had last year's defense? If you wouldn't have gone into the portal and did what you did, where would you be? Because there's a very strong chance you'd be 1-2. And I don't know if you'd be 1-2. So we're going to break down the game as we saw it. We're going to talk about the Nussmeier injury. Peyton Houston out of Evangel commits today. One of the top 100 prospects in the class of 2027. One of the best quarterbacks inside the class of 2027. We'll talk about that. Brian Kelly met with the media. We're going to break down not a lot, but some of the things that he said in there as well to take away and talk about, obviously, the Garrett Nussmeier question being the biggest here. But before we get to all that, everyone do us a favor, hit the like and share. Share if you're on Facebook. Share to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. I think it just dawned on me, by the way, what you actually want from me. I got to send a thank you to all of you. I was made aware today by our good friends, and I'm going to butcher it because I didn't write it down, and I'm looking at it here. Let me go pull it up. But our good friends over at, oh gosh, I didn't write it down. This is such a rookie mistake. And we're 1,200 episodes in. What are we doing? But our good friends over at feedspot.com and the audio podcast that is inside the state of Louisiana. Thank you all for allowing us to be the number 2 podcast in the state of Louisiana. We started this 5-6 years ago. It really started in 2017, 2016, when even before my wife and I were married. If you have followed this show for a while, you know the story, and I apologize if you hear it again. But my wedding cake, the groom's wedding cake, was of AYS, like my vision. I think my wife understood that well before I did. But even in that, like even in those things, it's been a long time. And all of you, I got to just say thank you to, because as of today, per the reports, we are the number 2 podcast inside the entire state of Louisiana. That also goes for radio. That also goes for everything. The numbers don't lie when it's all said and done. I greatly appreciate every single one of you for being in here, tuning in here, liking, sharing, sharing all the pieces of content that we have. It makes me humbled every time that y'all do that. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. And I hope that we're here for 12,000 more episodes, not just 1,200 as we've been here through these years. But goal is to be number one, like we're Ludacris in the song when it talks about, what is it? They're coming for the number one spot. That's what we got to do. All right. We got a couple of super chats in here before we get rolling. Cajun Curveball says, sick of BK again. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Maybe if we met the standards in the first years, USF scored more offensive points than LSU against Florida. What do I want? I want some damn offense. 5 picks and 13 points. Pathetic. Nuss ain't near a first round. Well, we'll talk about that Cajun Curveball. Does the injury, are you buying into the injury? Would be my question here. He also says with a $5 super chat and says, and for the I'm spoiled crowd, you're damn effing right I am. This is LSU football. Some of our media and fans are delusional. Look, BK addressed this today. You're going to have to score more points. There is no doubt about it that your defense is not going to keep running out there and pulling these same performances every week. Can they? Yes. Are they really good? Yes. Guys, even the best defenses of all time. Like, again, if you think 2011, I brought this up multiple times, and I brought it up on the postgame. If you, look at the 2011 team. They had some teams put some points on them. And they had some games where clearly they outright dominated everybody that they played. And you're just not going to have your best stuff every single week. And you look at it and say, can you score more than 20 points? You're going to have to. And quite frankly, the cat is out of the bag. And we'll talk about this. The cat's out the bag. So now that you feel like that, let's just call it what it is, through 4 weeks and out of Southeastern, are you out of this entire situation with Garrett's injury? Do you rest him this week against Southeastern? I don't know. What I do know is that there are real two schools of thought when you talk about the Nussmeier injury. We'll talk about that when we come back out of the break. But it is a big question. Cole Sens with a $20 super chat says, no, it's number one. Well, I do greatly appreciate the super chat from everybody that sends us in. But, yeah, thank you. I'm glad it is number one to a lot of you. It legitimately, you got to come for the number one spot. But consistency, man. The only reason it's gotten to this point is because we're just here every day. If you go to the gym every day, what's going to happen? If you eat right and go to the gym every day, guys, what happens? It's about the level of work that you put in. It's just about the consistency and how you do it. So thank you, Cole. I greatly appreciate the super chat. I greatly appreciate you saying those kind words too. Cation Curveball says, let us run into an offense that is clicking. Kelly going to get flamed by Cabo if the offense isn't there. Durham had 14 rushes for 43 yards before the last. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And it's, again, we'll talk about it. I mean, the Nussmeier injury situation is basically talking about the offense. So, Cation Curveball, this is what we're going to do. Everyone's going to hit the like and share it all those groups on Facebook, and share it all those social media pages. If you're on YouTube, you're going to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And wherever you listen to podcasts, you're going to rate, review, and subscribe. Cation, I'm going to answer all of your questions and my thoughts about that coming out of the break here. But before we do that, I got to get to a break. Every episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Guys, do you think LSU is going to run the table? Do you think that they're going to win the SEC? Do you think they have the chance to score more than 20 points this week? You can go sign up at FanDuel and bet that line today. If you got discretionary income, do it. If you don't know how to bet and you don't have the discretionary income, I highly suggest that you don't sign up. What I do suggest that you do is if you want to go have some fun, bet on the NFL, bet on college football, go sign up with our friends over at FanDuel. The reason they are the best and number one sporting book in the state or the United States and in the state of Louisiana is because they do the right things and they are top notch. If you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go over to FanDuel.com/RG for more details. But let's go have some fun with our good friends over at FanDuel today. All right, let me get to a quick break. When we return, Garrett Nussmeier is injured. What do we think about it? We talk about that next. Stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick.
We're back.
All right. I don't think Brian Kelly gave us any big news today, did he? Nothing to really talk about. All right, let's get into it here. So Brian Kelly met with the media today and basically shared something that a lot of people have been asking, but that a lot of people have been wondering. What is up with Garrett? Because some people have been asking, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, social media, Twitter, calling into radio shows, calling into here, whatever it may be, what is going on with Garrett? Offensively, you just don't look like the same. What we expected coming into the season from this offense was seeing something that looked a little bit more explosive. Now, we talked about this in fall camp, and I am just not I have said this from the beginning. When we are out there so many days that we are out there and you see a lot of the things that you see, there's no way that practice doesn't translate, meaning the defense dominated the entire camp. And we talked about that ad nauseum. And when we talked about them dominating, that has translated onto the field so far. Offense had a lot of bad days. That also has translated onto the field so far. The old cliche of you practice how you play, I still think is a big deal, and it prepares you for the week to come. But Garrett Nussmeier has an injury, per Brian Kelly, of him having a torso injury, also coming off of having the knee injury earlier in camp, which seems to be pretty reconciled. Doesn't look like that there's been an issue. But right now, he, per Brian Kelly, is coming out of a torso injury. Brian Kelly elaborated that it happened during fall camp. And the question that I have is twofold. Number one, was this the real thing that happened in fall camp? And the knee happened, but then the abdomen thing happened, and that's why in the last scrimmage of the season you didn't put him in there. And Brian Kelly said, oh, well, we kind of have him on a pitch count. Well, you had him on a pitch count because he had an abdomen issue. Right? Like, how many times did we go out there and Brian Kelly say it's a pitch count issue? It was probably 3 times that he walked up to the podium and he said that. So now what do we know? Well, that was a little bit fake. That was a little bit of coach speak. You didn't want to tell anybody and freak out anybody before going into a game that you have been focusing your entire offseason on. Because how many times did we talk about 1-0 going into Clemson? Brian Kelly at SEC Media Days going out there and saying, listen, we got to be 1-0. That's it. Don't ask me about anything else. We got to go 1-0. And that was their main focus and their main goal. But I do wonder how the camp situation unfolds and unravels here when you talk about Garrett Nussmeier and you talk about that injury. But there's two main thoughts that I have about Brian Kelly saying this today. Number one, were you limiting everything that you were doing from a downfield passing perspective? Were you limiting a lot of the things that you could do and want to do offensively because of that? Now, BK said today that, listen, we haven't been really throwing the ball deep a lot with Garrett. We've been kind of keeping him on a pitch count throughout the week and kind of letting him rest throughout the week until he can build that strength back up. And that would really, for me, if that is the truth, for me, yes, that's going to make timing off. But this is the second year for Garrett in this offense. And I think that there's two folds that we got to bring up. Now, in reference to the injury, what do we know? Number one, it will throw off timing. In deep patterns, in deep passing, it's going to just throw off timing. It's going to throw off, and now it gets you to understand why against Florida they're calling in max protections. Why against Florida they're doing some of the certain things that they are doing. But Brian Kelly said that they are getting out of that. That Garrett, look, he's still a little banged up, but he's getting out of this situation. So how much do you take for Florida that you were limiting this? And it kind of revolves around the Cobble situation. And let me explain. Cobble asked what's going on with the offense. And in Brian Kelly's mind, he doesn't want to come out and say, well, listen, Garrett Nussmeier is dealing with an injury. He's dealing with a situation where we got to look like this and play like this because of we don't want to put him in compromising situations. We don't want him getting hit a lot. We don't want to aggravate the situation more than it already is. We think that we can have a game plan. We can put some things together, play legitimately great defense, and beat Florida, beat Louisiana Tech, and beat Clemson. Because right now he is injured. In him being injured, we can win these games if we manage the game the right way. If that is the case in the truth, and that is ultimately what they're doing, then you got to give Brian Kelly some credit of maneuvering how he maneuvered in this game or in this time frame. Because if you have one hand tied behind your back, then you have a hand tied behind your back, and you're not the team that you fully have the capability of being. The promising thing for LSU is this. Do I think things could get worse offensively? Yes, I think things could get a little bit worse than they are right now. But if this is true and he is hurt, then guys, the sky's the limit. I tweeted this today. Listen, if you had one hand tied behind your back and you were still able to win games 17-10, you were able to win games 20-10. What happens when you can open this thing up and Garrett gets better and he's starting to get more to full strength? And even if nothing changes with him, meaning he doesn't change a damn thing from last season, and you just start throwing the ball all over the place. And listen, man, we got a defense where we can be risky. I don't think Brian Kelly is the kind of coach that wants to go out there every week and score 23 points. I don't think that he loves the offensive performance that you've been getting. So I understand the situation that you're in and trying to not get Garrett hurt more than he is. Look, he's good enough to play. He wants to be out there, and we're gritting this thing out. We're all biting down on our mouthpiece, and we're figuring out ways to win. I think that that's a positive. It's ironic that an injury is given a positive, because most of the times injuries don't give positives. They give negatives. Oh, what are you going to do here? What about that? Like, for example, when West and Whit Weeks went out of the game, oh, man, we got a couple of brand new starters and brand new freshmen and Zach Weeks that's back out there. Oh, boy, I hope they don't run it right at us. And those guys played very well. But here's what it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop that you've been bad in the run game. It doesn't stop that you have had situations the last 2 weeks where, quite honestly, guys, even against Louisiana Tech and against Florida, you can't run the ball. You cannot run the ball. You had an issue last week or 2 weeks ago against Louisiana Tech where you had the same amount of rushing yards on Louisiana Tech as Southeastern did, who you ironically play this week. And last week, outside of the long run, which I don't like taking away, I don't think it's fair to take those things away. But if you want to talk about the entire game, it's good that that run came at the very last play of the game. The reason I say that is guys, what if you do get a 3 and out there and you don't go from an I formation, or you don't go in the jumbo package that you did versus Florida, and Jack Pyburn doesn't kill somebody and clean their clocks, and you don't go hit, Caden Durham doesn't hit one to the outside, and let's just say you get 3 or 4 yards there versus you doing what you did. Now, you can't take it away, but let's not act like through 4 quarters and 13 minutes or 3 quarters and 13 minutes that, quite frankly, that you just could not run the football. And that is going to be a problem. I've seen some people say and talk about and be relieved that, all right, so Garrett was hurt, so that's why we weren't doing as good. No, that doesn't help you in the run game. I think Garrett has done some good things in getting you out of some specific runs. I don't think he's been great at it. But I don't agree with some of the issues. Teams are still playing off of you. So the twofold of this and the opposite side of this is it doesn't really stop what you're doing in the run game. You're still having problems along your offensive line. And BK says he's still really bullish about him. I mean, I haven't seen anything that would make me bullish about them offensively along the offensive line. I don't think that Weston Davis is given Weston Davis is talked down to like he's not having a fight as a freshman. It's tough, but it's a situation that he's in. I think he's giving you everything he's got, which is the only thing that I can ask. I never question Weston Davis's effort, ever. Never question it. Because even when he's getting beat, he's giving you everything he's got, and it's the only thing I'm ever going to ask from a player. But the flip side of the coin, when you talk about Nuss being injured, it gets me to the point of this. I understand why you're not pushing the ball down the field. I understand some of the things that you're trying to do in the run game and the personnel and the looks that you've been giving. Now it makes more sense of what has been happening. But he has been playing. And when you have an injury like this and you're trying to limit him in some of the things that you've done, what I don't think changes either is you've been making bad decisions. The out route into double coverage when you have Aaron Anderson wide open. I look at the game last week and I break the game down from last week, and we'll talk about this in just a moment, injury or no injury. I think that there were way too many guys wide open that you missed. And it's not as if that you got to push the ball down the field to get it to them. You're missing Aaron Anderson on some of these quick routes. You're missing Jawan Johnson on a check down when you're going somewhere else. You're already preconceiving where you're going with the football before the football is even snapped. And I know a lot of quarterbacks do that when they know the right coverage. You're still making a lot of really bad decisions, even though the entire focus for a week is, hey, this is the game plan for the first couple of weeks. We're going to do this over and over and over and over again. We are. It also benefits that, hey, we are in a situation where we don't really trust our offensive line, so we're going to get the ball out quickly. You can't say you're bullish on this offensive line, and you can't say that you think that they can do some good things when you're trying to get the ball out quick because you think that they're going to give up a lot of pressure. The thing for me that bothers me in this whole situation is then the like-in and buy-in should – if you're trying to keep some things underneath, teams aren't taking it away every single play when you're dropping back to pass. You're missing drag routes to Aaron. You're missing some screens. You're missing some slants. You're missing some basic throws that you got some in routes by the tight ends. You have been missing things that are there that if you're going to play, you have to hit on a regular basis. I understand the injury. And I understand that maybe you don't think that you can get the ball there based off of some soreness and how you feel inside of a game. I get that. I do think for a sidebar and situation I didn't mention earlier, it does make me respect Garrett a lot that against Florida and against Clemson, that you are actually running the football and tucking it and getting out of there. Guys, Garrett ran twice on Saturday, and I thought both of them critically did some things to open some things up by the linebackers, to be honest with you. And that it was good. A third down where he got 5 yards sounds good. The play's not there. You don't feel like you have the energy or you don't have enough muster to put the ball deep, so you're going to run it, and let's go get a first down. There was a holding call that got a holding call on Braylon Moore where he ran for a first down. A lane opened up, he ran, he got down, but there was a holding call that brought it back. So I admire the toughness, because if you are injured and you're injured in your midsection, it's got to be tough. But I don't like some of the misses that I see. It makes me understand them more. But you still got to know what coverage that you're in. You still got to know what coverage they're in. You still got to know what all guys are doing at every single play. Now, for me, this is how I think the situation looks. The first 3 games offensively, I'm going to give you a mulligan. Because if your starting quarterback was injured, all right, fine. It's how you wanted to go into the game and attack it. You didn't want it. You wanted to protect your quarterback, get him more healthy, and as the season goes on, you progress. Maybe that is the case. All right, then I'll give you a mulligan. But it better work. And it better start getting better. Because the excuse will be, is Garrett hurt? What's going on? You said that he was hurt, so that's why it looked the way that it did. And it better not look the way that it did. Because if it looks the way that it did, then, guys, we have to have a conversation that, no, it wasn't ever about Garrett. Really, it was how you were trying to orchestrate games. It was how you were trying to game plan games because you didn't know or think offensively that you were good enough. I am willing to give you a mulligan. And a mulligan comes so much better in a situation where you're 3-0. You're 3-0. And for me, I don't think that there's anything that they can do against Southeastern that will change my mind about this offense right now. Unless you score 70, then we can have the conversation. If you score 70, then fine. You score 60. Hell, you score 56 points. Score 6 touchdowns. Have 6 touchdowns offensively, and then we'll start having those conversations. All right, fine. Then you push the ball down the field, then fine. All right, this was the game that you target to start really letting some things loose for Garrett, and if he hits it, he hits it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But you better open it up now. You opened it up last year, and I understand the offensive line that you've had. But you're going to have to take some of those sacks with this defense. You're going to have to be more aggressive. Brian Kelly brought up today, we got to get Chris Hilton involved. No shit. No shit. You got to get Barryon more involved down the field. No shit. You do. I understand the vertical throws. I get it. It makes me understand Louisiana Tech so much better now. But Brian Kelly said today that Garrett Nussmeier is finally kind of getting out of this thing. Well, if he's finally getting out of it, whether he plays against Southeastern or not, then, well, I'm ready to give you. I'm willing to give you a mulligan, but you got to be able to perform now because your defense can't keep doing this. Your defense cannot keep having to be on the field for 36, 37 minutes per week and them hold on every single week because offensively you can't do anything. I go back to the drive chart. I go back to the plays in the first half, and I'm like, that ain't got nothing. If he's able to play, that decision has nothing to do with an abdomen. That it's mental. So, do I think that he looks off? Do I think Garrett looks off? Yes. I think something has desperately looked like it's off, and I thought I was going crazy. He's still throwing the ball deep. It's just a bad throw. All right. But the thing I come back to the most about this offense, now that we've seen them through 3 weeks, your quarterback was hurt. There's a lot that we can discuss. If it does work, if it doesn't work, if you see different things, you don't see different things. There's a lot of talking points that we can have in the next couple of weeks about what this offense may be. But there is the potential that is still there that you won 3 games against 2 really strong opponents with a hand tied behind your back. What is the upside of what this LSU football team in 2025 can be now? You might have the best defense in the country to date. You might have a top 5, top 10 defense in the country to date. I think right now you've shown that you might be the best defense in the country. But you might be a top 3, top 5, top 10 defense. And the potential is if Garrett, coming out of this injury, can find some passes down the field to Chris Hilton, can find some things downfield to Aaron Anderson, Barryon Brown, Xavion Thomas, Trey'Dez Green, Bauer Sharp, and you're able to score more points, then, guys, the sky is the limit for you at that point based off of what we've seen from your defense. We know that we feel pretty confident that you have a national championship level defense. That's how we feel. But you're going to have to score more points, and you got to put more points on the board. You cannot walk out of any game from this point forward and the defense have the same amount of touchdowns that you do. If you're coming out of it, then that's one thing. We got to see if you are. The last point I'll make on the Nussmeier injury is this. I've seen a lot of people, and I'm sure there have been a lot of you in here today that have asked this question, and I hadn't even really looked at the chat. Well, Blake, why not start Michael Van Buren or play Michael Van Buren? It's a great question. I don't know. I think that I think you have a situation where Garrett is healthy enough and wants to play, and he can play, and he wants to tough it out there for his team. All right, I admire that. From a coaching aspect, it's like, okay, well, Garrett can play, and he wants to play, and that's his decision. Good on him. And I'm assuming that Michael Van Buren wants to take a red shirt. I am purely speculating on that, but he was forced into action last year when he didn't need to be forced into action. He should have taken a red shirt. I get not wanting to do that to him and want to manage some situations. I completely get it. Completely get it. And those are 2 tough, really, opponents, and you couldn't separate against Louisiana Tech. But if things don't get better, and I am not saying to pull Nuss for Michael Van Buren, if he's hurt, then we got to let him rest until he can come back. You're like this week, do you even play him against Southeastern? I think that you need, personally, I think that you need all the live game reps that you can get. I think Garrett needs all the amount of reps that he can get. I think he does have to play against Southeastern because you got to take those reps to be better. I don't want him to play in some aspects, but I don't know his true health. I'm not sitting in that locker room. I'm not sitting in that coaching office with all of the determining factors and doctors around me to tell me what I should and shouldn't do. What I am is someone saying, I don't want a game against Southeastern, a meaningless game to dictate what the season will be. If he needs rest, then he needs rest. Brian Kelly says, though, listen, he's coming out of it. And if he's coming out of it, then let him play. Let him play. They got to figure something out offensively. They have to figure something out. You said that you were limited with a hand tied behind your back, and you couldn't run the football, and your biggest weakness was on full display, and you still won football games. Well, it's not on full display anymore. It's not on full display anymore. You better open that thing up like a hooker in prime time because, I mean, You got to go, man. You have a championship level defense. You do. You have a defense that can lead you to the playoff and a national title. You keep scoring 13 points a game, you're not doing diddly. You're not. It's great to be 3-0. It's going to feel great to be 4-0 going into Ole Miss. But guys, I know Austin Simmons has been what he's been, and I know that defense can go in there and really make hell for him. I get it. A&M's explosive. What is Alabama? What is Oklahoma? What are those situations? You got a mulligan. You got to answer the bell against Southeastern. You got to answer the bell against Ole Miss, and you got to keep going. You got to keep going. It answers a lot of questions, and it's reassuring that you're able to win games when offensively you might be at your weakest. Because this might be the weakest that this offense is right now, knock on wood. Knock on wood, this is the weakest that you want your offense to be. But if it is, then great. Because that means that you can do and have the potential to do some elite level things. All right. We had some super chats in here. Curveball says, let us run into an – Dane Bergeron says a $10 super chat says, I don't need a coach who makes $10 million a year to tell me I'm spoiled. I watched LSU since the Charlie Mack years, suffered through Archer and Hallman, pointing out Hart garbage offense is not spoiled. Yeah, you know, Dane, I think that there's a couple of things that the way I'd answer to that. I didn't take that. See, here's the thing. Maybe I just didn't take it personally. I didn't take it personally. I don't think Cobble should have taken it personally and I don't think that he's calling. LSU fans felt like he was calling all of us spoiled, which he was in a way. Saban's called his fan base far worse. Far worse. And I think that you have a coach here in Brian Kelly who looks at the situation with the Garrett Nussmeier injury and goes, bro, we have a hand tied behind our back against Florida with all the desperation that they have with Billy Napier and company and losing to South Florida a week ago. Our quarterback's still pretty much a little banged up, and we can't do some things with him that we want to do with him because of what's going on right now. And our defense had to go out there the last 3 weeks and win us games against two tough opponents, once on the road. And we had a hand tied behind our back. And the first question that you want to ask me after being very emotional about this is, hey, why do you suck? And I don't think Brian Kelly wanted, and he talked about defending his player. He wasn't defending his offensive line. He wasn't defending Joe Sloan. The truth of the matter is that Cobble answer is him defending Garrett. And why nobody wants to acknowledge or admit that is beyond me. Now, if you want to go source for source on it, because some of the media have speculated this, he is not doing it for the coaching staff. Brian Kelly literally went out there last week and said that he chewed the asses of the offensive staff, that he was yelling at them, screaming at them, and quote unquote chewed their ever-living ass. So then why is that? There is a conspiracy theory that I have. I do have, and I'll admit a conspiracy theory here. The conspiracy theory that I do have is Brian Kelly. If Garrett Nussmeier is hurt, then why are you chewing out your offensive staff based off of how they played? If he's hurt and he's still playing, then why are you chewing their ass? I don't know. He's saying that's the way that he's wanted to play. Okay, well, then now you better turn it up. Now you got to turn it up. Dane, I'm not defending him. I can already know what the chat. Blake's defending BK. I'm not defending BK. What I'm just saying here is I understand it. Hey, man, we just tied a record of interceptions with everything that we went through, and he got pissed off. And it's a great question by Cobble. I don't think either one of them are in the wrong. to be real with you. I don't think BK should have acted the way that he acted, and even he admitted that. He admitted it. Bruh337 with a $5 super chat says, I don't know if you went over it yet, but if Nuss is hurt, can we sit him this weekend? Let him get healthy SEC play. I think he needs all the reps he can get because BK said he's coming out of it. Sounds good. Then if you do sit him against Southeastern, then let me ask you this question. Do you think that he needs the reps with new wide receivers, new tight end, new offensive line? I think he can use all the reps that he can get. He certainly needs game reps with Barryon Brown and Chris Hilton, which BK said today, we got to get the ball more to Chris Hilton. No shit. No shit. Guys, there's a play in the second quarter where Chris runs a fade route and a safety is in the middle of the field, and if you throw it to him, it's a touchdown. He's got 3 steps on the corner. If you throw a great ball to him, it's over. It's over. That's the shit that bothers me. That's the shit that bothers me. All right. Otis Quinn says the depth on defense is crazy. Spears had 2 picks and only 9 snaps. Yeah. And got the SEC Player of the Week. Defensive Player of the Week. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, we'll recap the Florida game. We'll talk a couple of things that Brian Kelly mentioned, and we'll take in some live phone calls here at the end. Stay with us. Hey, Southwest Louisiana. Are you ready to gear up for your next outdoor adventure or tackle that next big job on the farm? Then head on over to Henderson Tractors, Boats, and Power Sports. At Henderson and Lake Charles, they've got everything you need under one massive 30,000 square foot indoor showroom. Kubota tractors and mowers to power through the toughest tasks. Polaris off-road bikes and side-by-sides to conquer any trail. And tracker boats with brands like Ranger, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Regency pontoons for a day out on the water. Whether you're a farmer or a hunter or just someone who loves the great outdoors, Henderson has what you need to get the job done and have fun while doing it. Browse their new and used inventory over at their website, hendersonimplement.com. That's hendersonimplement.com. Or give them a call today at 337-436-4366. That's 337-436-4366. Or go see them over in Lake Charles on the corner of East McNee Street and Highway 14. Remember, if you need a tractor, go to Henderson. Need a boat? Go to Henderson. Or if you need an ATV or side-by-side, you know where to go. Henderson. Just let them know that your good friend Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on by. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotion. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS,
you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by.
We're back.
Our good friends over at SEC Number Guys on Twitter says schools since 2022 with 18-plus SEC conference wins is the University of Georgia, the University of Alabama, and Louisiana State University. BK did come here in 2022. So the Blue Bloods. Things are not always as bad as they seem. They're not always as good as they seem either. To be in the top 3 of conference wins since Brian Kelly has been here is pretty good. Now, can they take that next step? Because if they take that next step, well, then you're going to be in the playoff and you're going to continue to stay in that moniker. All right. Any super chats in here? No. Okay. Let's get to it here. I did not expect the Garrett Nussmeier news to come out, so that's why we're getting so late, 50 minutes into the show on this recap. But let's break this game down and recap it a little bit. Guys, when I go back and rewatch the game from LSU and Florida this past week, it's pretty simple to me. Defensively, you were exceptional in all 3 levels of the game. I don't think, though, that there has been a bigger leap for you defensively than safety. Jake Olson and Lance Guidry deserve, with Harold Perkins, Deshaun Spears, A.J. Halsey, and Tamarcus Cooley, they deserve a lot of credit here. I think that the amount of credit that staff deserves, and Austin Thomas, who was an integral part in bringing these guys in here besides Harold Perkins and Deshaun Spears, is just how big of a leap that room has taken. When you talk about this LSU defense, guys, they've been elite through 3 weeks. They've only given up 3 touchdowns in 3 weeks. That is absolutely insane. It's the first time that has happened since 2014. That is otherworldly. But I think one thing that is going unnoticed the most, and it went unnoticed the first 2 weeks, was just how excelled and excellent your safety play had been. Because your safety room had 4 picks. And Jake Olson had a really, really tough go of it last year. When you look at Jake Olson, when you look at that safety room last year, I don't think that you had the personnel at all. I don't think that you had the guys in there that you wanted to be able to excel the way that you have. Look at you right now. Look at you right now. Because every time that we're out of practice, Jake Olson's with the safeties the entire time. When they're in the meeting room, I think it was Tyrann Mathieu, wasn't it, who went into the safety room and talked to them, and it's Jake Olson and company, along with Lance Guidry in the safeties and star position. They deserve a lot of credit, but there is no bigger leap than that position that you've taken so far this season. You look at the safety room and how they've been defending the run. I thought that they were exceptional from A.J. Halsey and Tamarcus Cooley at being ultra decisive and aggressive at stopping the run from the safety position. A.J. Halsey's run defense is something that we've missed in run defense from the safety room since 2022, but really the best since that 2019 season at a safety that will just come down and hit you in the run game, and he's excelled at that. I thought Tamarcus Cooley against Florida played an exceptional game. Blake, he gave up the touchdown. Okay, yeah, he gave up a touchdown. How many times did he come down in the box and lay the lumber? How many times did he make tackles in the open field against speedy wide receivers and bring them down? How many times did he, on DJ Lagway's scrambles, did he absolutely flatline him, which was multiple times? I say flatline, but how many times did he hit him and put really big hits on him? And Greg McElroy's chuckling in the broadcast because he's saying, yeah, Lagway, don't take that hit. They have been exceptional. But the depth piece is the biggest. You've seen how much depth this safety room has at the current moment because they have been tested like no other. A.J. Halsey is out for the first half, and Jordan Gilbert's got to come in against Clemson and plays phenomenal football. Deshaun Spears, who has been biding his time the first couple of weeks to go out there and make a play, finally gets his chance and his opportunity in year 2 to show what he's all about. And he has a pick 6 and another interception in the first quarter. The depth is insane. And you brought in guys from the portal because you didn't know what you had. Because look at what you have sitting behind them. Look at what you have. That is where I sit here and say to myself that this is a situation where that room has taken the biggest leap without question. They have been the massive part of why you've been where you've been. Harold Perkins is all over the place. And he has finally found his home. And they are letting him do what he is best at doing, being a playmaker. But DeMarcus Cooley on the sack, the interception, the multiple big hits, A.J. Halsey with the interception and multiple run defenses. And then you're using your third guy in Deshaun Spears to play the center field and to play the role of being a playmaker in the middle third of the field, and you just going out there and you're making plays. Your best attribute is tracking the quarterback, knowing where he's going with the ball, and going and picking it off. It's what you did in high school. Let's utilize that, and they did. Exceptional, exceptional, exceptional. But you did it in all 3 levels. Because the defense in the interior of this defensive line deserves a lot of credit. That Florida team that you faced, that running back room that you faced, is really good. And don't let Florida confuse you. Jaden Ball is a load to take down. He's a load to take down. Don McKinley's played fantastic. He's not making the quote-unquote plays, even though he had a play where he grabbed a running back and jerked him down and ragdolled him. He did make a play. Officially, I don't know if they gave him the sack, but he should have gotten a sack along the sidelines when he ran down DJ Lagway. Your ends are going to get home eventually. They're going to get home eventually. Patrick Peyton's putting on too much pressure on these quarterbacks that he's going to start getting home sooner rather than later. And he should have had one last week versus Louisiana Tech, but he's going to start getting home more. You've just been exceptional in all 3 levels. Your corner play has been able, and especially against Florida, the things that you were able to take away from Lagway set you up in a situation where, guys, you're basically running a 4-3 or 4-2-5, but hybrid. You're basically having 3 linebackers on the field at every given moment, and because that you can go man-to-man coverage and then confuse them and play zone and do different things, your corner play has allowed Blake Baker to be able to run the defense that he needs. And Mansour Delane and DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland have done such an exceptional job at setting everything up for everybody else. Your linebacker room was tested. And guys, when I look at this, what did Florida try to do? They tried to establish the run on you. Wasn't completely effective. The pressure that you put on them, they hit you on a couple of screens. Good on them. They try to hit you vertically. They try to hit you over the middle. And they try to do every single little thing that they could do. When you took away their run game and you made them one-dimensional, it was all she wrote. But you've done that the last 3 weeks. You've suffocated the run game. And because you're playing man and because you're able to do some of the things that you can do, and because the corner room is playing the way that it's playing, it sets everybody else up for what they're doing. And I mean, I look at this and say, Florida, really, literally going back and watching the film, there's everything that they're trying to do. They're hitting you with screens. They're hitting you with pop passes. They're trying to get to the edge. They're trying to go north and south. And every single little thing that they did, you just kept having answers for. You can't have the blown coverage on Jaden Ball. Fine. Okay. Fine. Is that it? They still technically held on that play too. This is a top 10 defense, man. And it's going to be hard pressed for you moving forward. They're going to have an off day. Football is football, man, and it happens to everyone. You're going to have an off day at some point. And can your offense pick you up and win the game for you? Because you've picked them up the last 3 weeks. Your linebacking core with Wes Weeks, and we'll see his health status this week. Whit, arguably one of your better defensive players, didn't even play and you beat Florida. And you look like that defensively. You know what Whit Weeks' exit of that game tells me? That even with the guy, your biggest signal caller and the guy that sets everything up for you in the middle, you didn't need him. You didn't need him. You want him. How much better could it have been if you had him? But you didn't need him because of the depth that you had. I thought Baby Weeks, I thought Singleton, and I thought especially Devon Keys were ready for the moment, and they performed. All three levels you were great in, and you're going to continue to play with that amount of confidence. The Bayou Bandits are back, and you're playing exceptional. There's not one thing that Billy Napier did not throw at you that you didn't excel in. They got a couple of things on you, sure, but a very downhill physical rushing attack got punched in the mouth by you. And you're doing to teams defensively what teams did to you a season ago. And Blake Baker very well may be a Broyles Award finalist and a Broyles Award winner. And he might be a head coach sooner rather than later. Offensively, this is where we'll get a little bit deeper. Guys, in the run game, you're still running a lot of zone principles. You're not running zone reads, zone blocking schemes. And quite frankly, you're going to have to figure something else out. I thought the tosses that you did, even the one that Jawan had, you found something on this little shotgun toss. You found something. I don't know why you didn't keep running it every single time that you ran the football. I really don't. You're not effectively at guard able to get to the second level. I know Brian Kelly said a 3-4 technique and some things that they were doing is hard to block and get to the second level. No, it ain't. You're taught when you have a 4-tech to run right at it. Run right at it. Have a tight end and run right at the 4-tech. Run right at that 5-tech because there's a lot of space there for cutbacks. And your offensive line in the run game is just getting out physical. There are so many times in the run game where Kane Durham is having to fight for his life in the backfield, and if he doesn't make a play, you're screwed. You are screwed. I don't understand the usage from the running back room. You got to get Kane Durham more touches early in the game for him to try to break one like he did against Clemson. I get you're trying to load management this thing, and it's how you're trying to play the game. But, guys, this offensive line's getting no push. It's the opposite of happening. You have no connectivity right now. You're unable to get to the second level because, quite frankly, you're getting dominated in some areas. I think Braylon Moore, coming off injury, had the toughest matchup that he's probably going to have all season. And I thought he held firm. But you're not getting the level of push. And the passing game and in pass pro, guys, I sent this to a couple of buddies. I know Lyle Jeezy's in here a lot, and he's a great friend of mine. But I texted this to Lyle and a couple of friends, and I'm saying, listen, I'm sending them the film, and I'm like, go watch this, and go watch how the offensive line and the guards and tackles are on a twist. They're not passing things off. They're running around like reckless abandon. The play that it happened on, ironically, was the one where Aaron Anderson hit the 31-yard quick slant. And I don't think Josh Thompson, nor do I think Paul Mabenga, nor do I think that Weston Davis should not know how to pass off stunts and twists. That is basic day one install. But you got out physical, and you're constantly getting out physical. Guys, Louisiana Tech out physical you for what it's worth. I thought you played better in this game versus Louisiana Tech. based off of the level of talent that they have. You can't keep doing this every week. You can't. And I don't know the answer, but you're trying to be – I understand that teams are – you're in a tough spot because I felt like the last 2 weeks teams knew something was off with your passing game, and they were selling out everything on the run. Maybe in the next couple of weeks, things will get better and some of the pressure gets taken off of your run game because of the fact that you can actually throw the football a little bit more and you can get a little bit more vertical instead of having to throw in 6 yards every freaking play. And that literally is your average, by the way. 6 yards per pass is your air and or ball in the air is your average. It's not good. You're not getting, guys, you're just not. But either they know everything that's coming or what is showing up on film is that you're just getting out physical. So against Florida, I just thought that was your main problem. You're not trying new things really either. I mean, even when you go to Xavion, even when you give Aaron a run, what I feel like that you're just doing the same blocking schemes and the zone blocking schemes and ramming your head up against the wall. You're doing some split zone stuff. And in that split zone, you're not trying to change it up. Run a counter. Run it. Do something. Because Caden Durham's getting hit in the backfield anyway. Run some counter, run some trap, run some wham, run some different things. Run the toss. Guys, I went back and watched calculated this. You were over like 7 yards of carry per toss. So you found something that worked. First play of the game. I'm literally doing that little toss play that they've been doing. And look, if teams can't stop it, so be it. So be it. Figure it out. But it was the best, most effective thing that you did in the run game. Even then, you were running some zone blocking stuff. This offensive line has got to be better. I know Brian Kelly said he was bullish on them. And basically, I've already, for what it's worth, talked about this. I mean, we don't really have to get to the Brian Kelly stuff, but go listen to his press conference today. I mean, everything that he talked about, we're about to talk about. And I know he says he's bullish on this offensive line, but right now I just don't know if I see it. I don't know if I see it. Third down. I've made tweets about third down the last 2 weeks. You're just not good enough on third down. Brian Kelly brought this up, so all the points in the Brian Kelly press conference that I've seen deemed fit, we've talked about here tonight. Guys, you're 41% right now on third down. The excuse that we made for last year on Garrett was you're putting him in a lot of third and long situations. Well, now it's that he's hurt. You're in too many third and shorts and you're not executing. You're not. You're also missing way too many guys that are open on third and short and you're throwing the football. There were way too many times against Florida that you had stuff underneath that are open and we're deciding where to go with the football before the football snapped, and we're making the wrong decisions. I don't understand how Aaron Anderson's not more utilized. Fine, you can't push the ball downfield. Sounds great. I understand it. He's hurt. Aaron Anderson, in multiple times throughout the game, and you didn't hit it until late, he is wide open, or he is in a situation where he's running a slant and the linebacker is on him and covering him. The middle linebacker is on Aaron Anderson. You cannot not exploit that. I know that's two knots, but you got to exploit that early in the game. It shouldn't have taken you halfway through the third quarter to figure that out. I mean, how many times did you have number 5 on Aaron Anderson? You finally hit it late, and that's fine. But there's too many things that are open. From the first play of the game, when you threw an out route to Caden Durham that got broken up, to the second to last series where you got an RPO slant and you give the ball off, And there's nobody in the general vicinity of Aaron Anderson. Nobody's there. He makes one guy miss in 6 yards, he might house it. Remember the A&M play? If he beats the one guy, he's housing it. I mean, you're missing too much. And so, when I talked about earlier with the Nussmeier thing, the injury and pushing the ball down the field is one thing. Either we are running the wrong routes, we don't know the coverage, or we are telling Garrett where to go with the football before the snap, and it's not working out. But there's only 3 things that can happen here. The majority of the time that this is happening is on third down, to circle back to that. I don't mind you getting 2 and 3 yards on first and second down to get to third and manageable and third and short. But if that's going to be your game plan, you're not going to execute anything unless you start converting on third down. I think Garrett is pressing way too much on third down. He's overthinking the situation that he's in. When it's all said and done, find your best playmaker and throw them the football. Throw them the ball. There are plays that you missed, too, literally. Not that you just didn't throw it, that you just blatantly missed. That's got to be cleaned up. I want to say something, but then again, I know it will go out of context. I don't feel as bad about Joe Sloan today as I did Saturday. I just don't. Because I think that there are things that are called that are open against the coverage that they're running. And you have a situation where Bauer Sharp is sitting, it literally runs a option route, and he sits in between the zone, and we're throwing an out route, or we're throwing something else, or we're trying to throw a deep drag on the opposite side, and there's no one in the general vicinity of Bauer Sharp because he sits inside the zone. As an example, the last big pass play that you had, the linebacker actually sat there with him, and on what I think is an option, he takes it up the seam. You hit it with Aaron earlier in the game, and then you make the right decision there. So you're making the adjustments after they're happening. But you're going to have to start hitting them and knowing what you're doing before that. Because it's too many. It's way too many. There are opportunities for you to be dynamic. There are openings that I see that you have to take here. And if you do, then you'll be fine. Third down's got to get cleaned up. You are not going to the playoff until third down's cleaned up. Won't happen. Won't happen. So, the run game. Going back to this, the best play that you had on the night in the run game was when Jack Pyburn came in the run. I have no idea if they're going to do that or utilize that. If you do ask me, I am putting Bauer Sharp at fullback, and I'm going to run some I formation, some all fullback stuff, and see what happens. See what happens. Maybe that benefits your run game. I don't know. Go full Les Miles if you got to. I don't care. All right. The last thing I see, and the last thing in the recap was, I'm glad that you're able to win. And I think in all of this, that continuously gets missed. Offensively, it's falling all on those shoulders because you had 5 interceptions and you scored 13 points. There's no realm where you should not have blown them out. There's no real realm outside of your quarterback being injured that you should have missed the things that, or you should not have missed the things that you missed. You shouldn't have. And I think that if you start connecting and things start getting better, and let's say Garrett's not injured, and you're able to open some things up for him, the question that I'm starting to ask myself, okay, well, he's in there. He's got to be able to throw the ball to Bauer Sharp from 12 yards. Okay, then that's a blatant miss. Or you're telling him where to go before, and you got to let him play. The decision-making has got to be cleaned up more than anything. Guys, I didn't even bring up the interception, and nor am I really going to. But, guys, that interception cannot happen from a fifth-year senior. That is as bad of an interception as you're ever going to see. But I felt like it kept happening over and over again because when you have that many guys open, it's got to be frustrating. You better let it – you got to start letting it loose. This defense will save you in a lot of situations. Let it loose. Open that puppy up. So what if Garrett has 12 picks on the season? So who gives a shit? This defense last year was with as explosive as you could have been at times and moments offensively, then you would have been fine. Because this defense might get you the stops that you need. All right. And generate some of their own turnovers. Man, you gotta. you better start letting that puppy hang. Decision makings were not good. All right. I guess we'll do some live phone calls. We won't stay on it long. We're not going to do a lot of call-ins. But I did tell you, since we didn't do it in the post game, that we would make it up to you. And we're going to make it up to you here. I got to make it up to you. Before we do get to that, I need to bring up Pop Houston. So, Peyton Houston out of Evangel, Cotton Valley, Louisiana, committed to LSU today. Top 90 player inside the state or inside the nation, and one of the top players in the 2027 class as a quarterback. I think Peyton Houston is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I think he is not. I genuinely believe that Pop Houston or Peyton Houston is not a 5-star because he doesn't have the size of some of these other quarterbacks. If he would have had some of the size and he had the frame of some of these other quarterbacks, he would be a top 32 player in the country. I think that he is and can be that special. It is a massive day for LSU. It is a massive day for this program. I think he's going to be exceptional here. Today is a massive day for you. I think that this almost did get away from you, though. I don't know what it means for Nussmeier, the brother of Garrett. I don't know what it means for him. I know that there's some sentiment that they would take too. I don't think that you need to. You still need a quarterback in the 2026 class, whether that be from the portal or somewhere else, but you got to go get another quarterback. And you got to get a quarterback in this class regardless, because the depth there is about to be very bad. I don't think either Van Buren, nor do I think that Colin Hurley is going to stay. Colin Hurley is going to ask the question in December when the portal opens, or January when the portal opens. Hey, where do things sit? Well, we're probably going to go with Michael Van Buren or go in the portal. Sounds good. I'm out of here. Well, then you're going to have to hit the portal, and you cannot have 2 scholarship quarterbacks on your roster. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. So the Peyton Houston thing's really good. Your quarterback recruitment still sitting in a situation that maybe you don't want it to be in. All right. 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387 is the phone number for you to call in. You can call in now. I told you I'd make it up to you. We did not do these in the post game, and we will get to it here. I'm wondering why this isn't ringing. All right, you're on the phone with Blake Ruffino. Hey, turn the thing down in the background. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to?
This is Faisal, man. I was teasing you earlier. Make sure that you were taking live calls, man. You killed it. First of all, I'm so mad you didn't take calls on Saturday because it's interesting. You know, obviously we were listening to you. I was listening to you, and, you know, Kelly went off about, oh, the offense is fine. We all know it wasn't fine. And that's the first thing I noticed because I was watching some tape, obviously, from last year, and the way Nuss was throwing. I mean, I don't want to say I knew, but I can tell that there was something. And I know that he had a knee injury earlier in the fall camp, right? So I knew it was something was holding him back because it could not be that he cannot fucking throw the deep ball. I mean, that was his calling card last year. That was literally his calling card last year.
When is it?
That's what made him
card.
Right. Besides that, now that, you know, Kelly kind of made a fool of himself by saying, you know, everything is fine when, you know, now that he's coming out saying he's not fine. So as you stated, he said he's going to be fine in the bye week. I mean, technically this is a bye week. The Ole Miss is your big game right now. I mean, I get it. I heard what you said earlier that, hey, you know what? He needs a rep. But I rather take him healthy because Ole Miss is going to come out now that knowing that he's injured. Ole Miss is going to come out firing at him.
How do you
right?
How do you fix my counteract to that is how do you fix not being able to have timing down?
That also is true, but just let him practice, I guess, and then don't play him in the game, or maybe give him maybe 2-3 series, or give him a quarter. Because I mean, like you said, other than us putting up 60, 70 points, what are you really proving?
There's there's absolutely nothing that they can do that can change my mind until they go into Ole Miss and do it.
Exactly. So you might well just get Nuss healthy as you can, right? That's my thing because he's the key to the whole thing right now, right? I had quite a few points that day, so I'm gonna just go with it quickly.
Yeah, give me one more point, and then we got some more other callers coming in. What's your final point here?
Two of them.
No,
the same
one.
thing as me and
give me
you,
one more point.
The run. Me and you saw the same thing. Why are you not going to the toss? That thing is working. Every time you get the toss, you're getting at least 3 yards. You're running a gap. You're literally getting stuff at the line. Why are you wasting your time? Just toss the ball. Let him get 2-3 yards.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I mean, I wish I had the answer for you, but it was the best thing that was working for him, and they just couldn't do it.
Yep. And last one, I'll make it quick. This one. What do you do? I know Cooley has been good, but in coverage, he's a little clacky. Maybe put Spears in there. I love what Spears doing, man. Like, how can you keep him off the field?
I don't know if you can watch Cooley's game and say to yourself, I mean, you can rotate him more, fine, and put Spears in there based off of what he did. Cooley had some massive plays, though. Some massive plays. All right, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks, man.
All right.
All right, you're on the phone with Blake Ruffino. This is the AYS show. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to?
This is Melissa.
Hey, Melissa, what do you think of the game?
Well, you know what? I thought it was a good game. There were a lot of mistakes in offense and things. Obviously, Nuss is hurt, so that answers some questions.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the O-line has to straighten up. You know, I like your idea about putting Carius in at guard. He's very athletic. Look at, give him some reps and see what he does.
You know, Melissa, you bring up an interesting point that it would be a fantastic week to see what he has this week versus an opponent that you don't think or that you think that you could probably do it to in Southeastern.
Yeah, because we kind of have I don't want to call it a soft week, but, it's a game where we could put, some of the second string in and see what they can do. See if they can, get in there with Mabinga and with Josh Thompson, and see if they can strengthen up, that offensive line, get some push.
I mean, look, I agree. I don't think, Melissa, this is what they would tell you, and I don't, coaches are coaches. What have they seen to not want to put them in?
Yeah.
That would be my only question. And so, like, that you have a struggle along the offensive line. We know that Brian Kelly will play freshman. I mean, because he literally played two in Will Campbell and Henry Jones. So then what are you seeing? Or did you have to play those two out of necessity because it's year one, you don't really have a choice, you're really bad in some areas? Fine. But I think you, to your point, you got to get Carius Kern in the game.
I think so too. I liked it when they got Pyburn in there and, made him the fullback, in the get some push. He's got some push there, and maybe we can get something on the run game going.
I completely agree. Thank you for the phone call, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right. Couple more here. 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387 is the phone number for you to call in. All right, you're on the phone with Blake Rufino. This is AYS Sports. Who do you have the pleasure of talking to?
Jerm.
What'd you think of the game, bud?
Man, I think the game was really good. As far as from a defensive standpoint, I think what a lot of people don't realize offensively is that we run the football to create, I feel like we run the football to create the next big pass play. Like, that's what we've been trying to accomplish.
I completely agree with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
completely.
So yeah. So that's my take on it. I think as the season goes on, we're gonna find more explosive plays in the run game, like we did on that last Caden Durham play. That was an explosive play that we had in the run game. We never looked at that formation before with Jack Pyburn, so that could be something that now we're implementing moving forward.
What took so long?
And so, right, right.
I mean, the reason I asked that is because you had 4 3rd and 2s or shorter, right? So,
correct.
What took so long? I mean, I understand what kind of took so long in some instances, but it's Jack Pyburn versus his own team. You can't run the ball. You got 45 yards in the entire game, and then you finally do it. But here will be the question. I can't believe as LSU people we're actually bringing this up. Do you need to go a little bit more Les Miles?
I agree with. I would say you do in situations like
how funny things have worked. We wanted Les Miles out of here, and now people want to go back to the I formation. How things come back the way that they need to. Damn.
Yeah, man, for sure. For sure, huh?
Les Miles just heard this phone call and got pissed off.
But listen, this is my take, and I'm gonna leave you with this.
All right.
When it comes to, there was a play where we ran, I think it was with Juwan Johnson. We ran, he picked up 8 yards, and it was like 2nd and 2, and then we passed the ball on 2nd and 2. We didn't get it.
Yeah, that came off the toss. It came off the toss. Yeah.
Correct. And those next 2 downs were pass plays on 2nd and 2 and 3rd and 2.
I don't get it.
It's just situational. I feel like play calling. So yeah, go back to Les Miles. We don't need a fullback. We can use a tight end. Jack Pyburn all day. I'm with it.
Run the short field of the option. Let Garrett Nussmeier run the speed option. See what happens.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the All right. We'll take a couple more here. 225-435-9387. We'll probably take one more. 225-435-9387 is the phone number to call in. All right, last one here. All right, you're on the phone with Blake Rufino. AYS Sports. Who do we have the pleasure of talking to?
Hey, Blake, it's Dakota.
I knew it was you. What's up, Dakota? What did you think of the game?
I don't think the defense we kind of knew was good. Offense, on the other hand, it's got to be better, man. It's just, going back and watching the Florida game, I saw some things we did that was, the pass that we had to Bauer Sharp, wasn't that the biggest pass that we had in that game?
We've had all year.
Yeah, and then after that, the fumble, and then Nussmeier threw that terrible interception. That's the things that's just not good, Blake. That's going to cost us games if we don't take things serious. Am I wrong?
No, you can't have that. Listen, here's the truth in things. Listen, I talked about this. I've gotten a lot of hate DMs behind this, but it is what it is. guys, that kind of stuff can't happen. And before anybody tells me that it didn't happen a season ago, then you're just fooling yourself. Because it was happening all last year. Don't come at me saying it wasn't happening last year when it literally was happening last year.
Right.
So
I mean,
you keep having that, you're going to lose.
And I'm not even trying to say it's Nussmeier's fault. I mean, now does he have to play better?
That
Absolutely.
interception 100% is on Garrett.
Correct. And I feel like we are not running the ball well. Go ahead.
Go ahead, buddy. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, yeah, like, you got to run the ball better. We're not doing that well. I mean, do you think that maybe losing Trey Dance Green might have done something to the offense?
No, because you still didn't score more than 20 points in either performance before that. So, no, I don't.
Yeah.
You hadn't scored 24 points. No, I don't think Trey Dance. I don't. I mean, maybe it had some effect, but not to that level of effect, Dakota. Not in my opinion. All right, buddy. I appreciate the phone call.
Thank you, Blake.
All right. I am sorry that we didn't get to them the other night, but we will get to them on this next post game. Just kind of wanted to get some calls in and go from there. So I greatly appreciate it. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a blessed night, man. Peace.